Alrighty, so glad to have everybody here today. My name's Norm Ellis. This is Grace Baptist Church, the Adult One Bible Study in Vancouver, Washington. I know you guys know this, but those of you online today probably don't know that. You may know that, I should say. We do have a couple other verses. Would you like to read one today, Sharon?
Mm-hmm.
I'll give one to you, and I'll save that one for myself because I know Steve doesn't like this.
What?
Whoa, come on in. Good to have you.
Oh no, it's here.
So we're in Joshua. I don't know if that's what you were in your class or not.
No.
Oh, well, that's okay. We're wrapping up Joshua, so that's okay. We're getting like the summary done today, so we're fine. We're in Joshua 24, and it's called Vital Decision. We're looking at these three areas: the challenge that Joshua gives, and the warnings that he gives. And if you follow along in our books, and you guys need a book, I have some limited books left. Here, who would like a book? You don't have to keep them. You can just use them to refer to. Would you like to? You got one?
Yeah.
All right. So we're all set there. Great. Anyway, we'll be in. I think, at least in my particular study book, we're using NIV because that's the one we like to use. Anyway, it starts on page 64 and goes to 72. The main idea today is that in his farewell address, Joshua challenged the people to choose the Lord over the gods of the Canaanites. So, think about that for a moment. Okay. We're going to start. Let's have an opening word prayer. Heavenly Father, just thank you for our opportunity to study your word today. It is precious to us, Lord. Help us to understand these principles, these truths from the time of Joshua, Lord, and how we can learn from them as well. Be with those that aren't here today. Watch over those that are on their way here. Be with those that are sick and couldn't attend today. Lord, just love your word and the fact that we are in a country that is free to study it. Lord, thank you. In Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So we are live streaming, like I told you. So don't worry, I'm in view. You guys aren't. You can be heard because people like to hear the questions. So I will microphone. So don't worry that you're not on. So I have to worry about that part of it. Come on in if you want. Oh, who's here? Is that Cece? Okay, let me move those cans out of the way. Cece can sit right here.
I can move a little.
Sure.
I'm gonna move them over here. Is that okay? You guys bothered by this too much?
Yeah.
Oh
Terrible.
no!
Terrible.
What's
that? I won't. You can leave it right there. It's fine.
So I'm gonna begin with a visual display here, and so everybody can see my display. I'll show you a moment here. I have prepared for your wonderment two crystal clear glasses of water. Are these? Can you verify these are nice, clean water?
They are.
Yeah, they're fresh right out of the Grace Baptist Church tap, so we're perfectly
Should have
fine.
used the water filter.
Yeah, well, maybe I did.
Norm, can I interrupt you for this?
Sure, go ahead.
You're talking water. I didn't want to.
Right.
I want to share. Kent and I were just talking about this. He's got it in his hand. Life Enrichment Conference for 50 and over. It is at the Canada Conference Center in October.
It's a great place, by the way. That's a great conference center.
Yes, it is. It's the dollar amount includes 4 meals and 2 nights. So, and it for a couple, it's $267 a piece, which is really good for 4 meals and 2 nights. Breakouts are awesome. If you guys want to check out more, get in touch with me. You can call me at work.
And there's a great chance that you see a herd of elk walk by and go to under the beach.
Oh, yes. I got beautiful pictures last year.
Just don't get in their way.
Yeah. Beautiful pictures.
How much is it for a single?
Single is $295.
Okay, $295.
So, and there's elevators to all the floors. So,
okay, and are they ADA and Surstock?
yes, because they're a regular hotel as well,
Oh, okay.
so they have to be.
Okay, I just have to ask.
Yes, I know.
And you can check online too. They have a good presence online. You can see what they say there.
Can I have a copy of it?
And if anybody else wants more,
And when is that again?
In October.
12th through the 14th.
Okay, middle of October. Okay.
Yes.
Great. All right.
Correct, please.
cracked,
Yes, thank you.
kind of like my personality.
Yeah, just like.
If you want, you can also open that a little bit if you want. I don't want to get too cold for people who might be cold too. So.
Does anybody?
All right.
No,
Well, I can
that's
put a
about
sweater
it.
on, won't get cold.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got both edges. They're locked, so lift up both edges, and then you have to crank it carefully because the crank sometimes comes loose.
Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do that. That works.
Got an old window.
Can I share your chair?
Oh yeah, you can actually use it. I'm just.
No, I just need that
Oh.
much of it. That's it.
Okay.
And like I said, if you're not careful, the crank will come. There you go. That's good. That'll work. All right, back to what I'm saying here. We're so interrupted. I won't say rudely. But I have two crystal clear glasses of water, don't I? Here's one. Here's the other one here. Okay. God wants our worship of Him to be pure and fully devoted to Him alone. Okay. However, we often find ourselves embracing the idols of the world. Oh, this fluid here, we don't know what it is. It's mystery fluid. This is the idols of the world as they come into our life. Oh dear, what's happened to our crystal clear life? Oh no, our crystal clear.
It's okay.
Oh, that's not good. Now, believe me, it's not good. You don't want to drink this seriously. God wants our worship of Him to be pure and fully devoted to Him. However, idols can come into our world. Now, you might say, now, I don't have any bronze or gold or silver idols that I bow down. No Buddhas in my house. We'll talk about that as well. But just like a little bit of contamination, I was supposed to use food coloring, which would have been a lot more dramatic, few drops, but I neglected to bring that. But just like a little bit of contamination ruined the whole cup of nice, clean water. I'm not drinking that. It displays this. What am I going to say here? We don't want that. We want to keep ourselves pure, like this cup here. Good visual, wasn't it? I thought it was. Maybe there's no oohs and ahs, so I guess I'm okay. I don't use visuals very often, but that was a fairly good one.
Yeah,
So we're talking about our lives being wholeheartedly, being fully devoted to God. And Joshua has been the leader of the army that came back, out of Egypt. He took over from Moses, right? And he secured the promised land. And that's where we are. Secured the promised land. Let's look at our intro paragraph. Our intro paragraph, if you want to follow along, is on the first copy of your handouts in the middle. Those of you online, I know you probably are wondering, what handouts? What? Well, you can get a copy of these in color sent to your inbox. All you have to do is contact Grace Baptist Church here in beautiful Vancouver, Washington, and get a hold of Pastor Matthew. He's right here. And he'll be glad to sign you
An
up.
extra what, sir?
Now, what's the question you had, Cece?
An extra one of these vital. Oh,
Oops. Oh, I have plenty. I've got a couple more over here if you need one.
Also put this on.
If we're not out, so.
sure.
I don't know.
Uh-oh. Anyway,
Oh.
so on our intro paragraph, it says a crash landing. Oh, I forgot to read something, didn't I?
I saw you had a cup of water on the live stream.
You missed
He
that.
did.
Can I have a drink?
No.
Oh.
Well, actually, you can't have one of them, not this one. Not this one.
No, I got my tea.
That clear one right
There
there.
we go. That's a good one.
Don't
Can't have
do
the
that
blue
blue one.
Don't do the
No,
blue
don't
one.
do
It's
that blue one.
contaminated by
That's
the
right.
oil.
I saw. Yeah.
Anyway,
Just a
crash
little bit.
landings of commercial jets are extremely rare.
Thank you.
But the way they talk about them, you think they happen every day. Nevertheless, one of the normal routines before a commercial jet takes off is the flight attendants giving passengers instructions on what to do in case of an emergency landing on land or on water. It says most passengers seem to ignore the flight attendants. People might get away with that on a plane, but it is always costly when people ignore warnings in the Word of God. And ask questions, why are people tempted to ignore warnings of potential danger? What would be a reason that you might ignore a warning about danger?
Well, that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not relevant to me.
I'm gonna give
Yeah,
you this
yeah.
first.
I mean, they just do that, but that would never.
That happens to other people, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What are the odds, right? Well, I was in the Air Force. I take all the precautions because I know what can happen if the maintenance is not done correctly, and sometimes that happens on aircraft, right? So I got a question behind me here. On a scale of 1, which is completely tuned out, and to 5, completely tuned in, how do you normally respond to the safety info briefing that the flight attendants give right before a flight? Let's be honest here. Who does one? Oh, there's a few brave souls here.
Well enough.
Who does two? Oh, there's a few hands there. Who does three?
In between, yeah.
And then there's four, and then there's five. Yeah. So completely tuned in. That's probably the best thing, isn't it? Because you never know. Maybe something's been updated. Maybe you don't put the tray back in the full upright position. Now you leave it out. I don't know.
I always enjoy looking at the art in the manual. I'll take that out, take a look at
Well, it is good to know where your nearest exit is.
where the life vests are. And
The life vest, if you're going over water, those kind of things are kind of interesting, you know, because when it does happen, and people, what's going to happen then? People are scrambling.
Panic.
What did they say? Oh my gosh, I'm going to die because I didn't listen. Right?
I also love to look at the facial expressions of the animated characters. They're
You like that?
hilarious
Okay.
sometimes. Read the.
Well, anyway, the point is, it is pretty easy though to get distracted. Let's say, well, I gotta get this text off to my wife before the plane takes off. I know they're telling me all kinds of important stuff, but I gotta do this first. You know, sometimes it's something like that, right? Get distracted, or you may get complacent. Well, I've been on a flight many times. You know, it's the same thing. Nothing changes. I can tune it out. I can find the right tracks for my AirPod or whatever and listen to my stuff, right? Yes.
This thing I started thinking about Yellowstone and how stupid people can be because it's like, don't touch the water, stay on the
Right,
boardwalk,
right.
and they still get.
And don't stare at the bison.
That's what I was thinking with this. Ignore warnings. Let's go to Yellowstone and touch the water.
During what's known as the rut season for bison, don't go anywhere
That's
near
also-
them. Nowhere. Now the guy was far enough away that he normally would be safe. At this particular buffalo, you probably all saw the video.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. He got tossed for a loop.
Oh.
I saw a panel of Native Americans holding up numbers 10, 9, 7. That was a good one. I like that one.
He was walking with his grandson,
Yes.
and he
Yeah.
distracted the boy away
Yeah.
from the grandson.
He did a brave thing.
Yeah.
But it was during rut season, so that was a particularly aggressive buffalo apparently. Anyway, so it is pretty easy to get distracted, like I did here for a moment.
That's right.
Why are people tempted to ignore warnings of potential danger? Why are we tempted to do that?
Well, putting the oxygen thing on yourself before your child, it doesn't feel natural to me. I want to protect my child.
Okay.
No,
Okay,
but sometimes it's
right.
more other, when it comes to other distractions.
Well, you set up higher than your kid. So
Mhm.
if there's a fire, you're the one getting all of this smoke, not your child. That's
Right.
why you do that.
Right.
I was contemplating this question, you know, and I guess complacency is probably the biggest one for me. You know, I think it won't happen. You know, so I don't think about that, and so I tend to ignore what they're talking about. You know, but sometimes it's important. You know, like the warning about the buffaloes. Don't go anywhere near the buffalo right now. You know, maybe they ignored it. I don't know. Things like that, right?
So sometimes we don't understand the gravity of the danger they're warning us about
Yeah.
either. I mean, like for the buffalo, people aren't necessarily thinking that they're going to get gored and tossed in the air. Who knows? They might just be thinking, oh, it's just going to hit me on the ground or something.
Yeah.
You know?
He was going to stomp him, and I guess somebody else came up and distracted the
Distracted him.
buffalo. The guy who was originally videotaping
There
it,
was
I heard.
a truck that drove by before the whole thing started and honked at the buffalo.
Oh, gee.
So
Oh.
that might have said it.
Maybe set him off a little bit, yeah. Well, anyway, today's session today, wraps up the study of Joshua we've been talking about. Chapters 23 through 24 contain Joshua's last words to Israel. In these chapters, he challenged the people to remain faithful to the Lord and to stay away from the false gods of the people still remaining in the land. And I think that's part of our main idea. In his farewell address, Joshua challenged the people to choose the Lord over the gods of the Canaanites. My voice is echoing down the hallway. The people insisted they would what? Remain faithful. We'll do it. We'll do it. You know? And consequently, Joshua made a covenant for the people, and he set up a memorial stone as a witness to the oath that they made to the Lord. Now, there's all kinds of memorial stones, if you read the Bible, throughout the Bible. Was there a name for this one there, Pastor Matthew? Do you know?
I don't remember a name for this one.
Okay, it wasn't Ebenezer. That was,
No, that
okay.
was when Samuel helped lead them to victory
Right,
over
right.
the Philistines.
Well, anyway, there's a lot of memorials that are set up. They do it for a reason. Why do you think they set up these memorial stones?
Because it shows, it's clear, you can
Right.
see it.
Right. So it's a
And it
memory
should-
jogger, perhaps. How about that? Because we a lot of times say things and then we forget we said them. You know, like I said I would get a picture to such and such a person that I took, and I haven't done it yet. You know, I need some sort of jogger. I need to write myself. No, seriously, I need to write myself a note. It says process those pictures for Cindy and Vern or something like that, whoever it was, you know. And but anyway, things like that happen when you get distracted. Things start to push in, and the other thing goes away, and so you forget about those things. Well, this is to remind them whenever they saw that stone, they remember, what did we say? We said we'd follow the Lord wholeheartedly. You know, so that was the reason for that.
I'll sometimes relate those to like what I would call spiritual souvenirs today, and that sometimes that can be a journal entry, sometimes it can be like a key Bible verse we put on the wall. But what's even more significant about this is it's not just a personal thing for me and my family. This is a stone that's going to last for generations.
Right.
So there's a communal, as a people of God, here's what God has done that we want to remember and tell our kids and our kids' kids and so on.
And that's, by the way, why invading armies would a lot of times tear things down.
Yeah.
They don't want you to remember the past. They don't want you to remember what happened and stuff like that. So when you see certain things being torn down, you wonder, what is their motivation there? They're trying to destroy something, aren't they? Destroy the memory of something. It could be a bad thing, could be a good thing. But anyway, Joshua had led the people to do some incredible things. Remember, when he moved to the promised land, he caused God caused Jericho's walls to fall flat. And many things like that. They secured the land for the most part. There are certain pockets that they apparently didn't get rid of, and they became thorns to the Israelites, by the way. But his final words represent one last challenge for the people. So let's see, what was it? I was supposed to point out outline. There we go. I did it. And we're on the last point of Joshua. We're going to be in Judges next week, by the way. It'll be an introduction to Judges. Go ahead. You were going to say something?
The part of the reason, you might have mentioned it last week, they didn't take the entire land. One part of the obedience factor was God actually said, you're not big enough to maintain it. You need to let those people stay there so the wild animals don't get out of control.
That could be too, yeah.
And then as you grow, conquer them, chase them out.
Yeah.
And so there was an element there that God actually directed was so during Joshua's time, they were fairly faithful. It was right after Joshua that we hear what you just said. There was some that said, I'm not going to worry about that area.
Yeah. Or I'll get along with these Canaanites.
Yeah.
They're not that bad.
I'll make a deal with them.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe my sons can marry some of their daughters. You know,
Or
they're quite fetching.
I'll
you know.
turn them into my laborers. I'll conquer them and make them my
That's it.
slaves. That was another thing they did. The economic benefit.
But they did compromise, as we're going to see later on. So let's look at the first point here. This is a challenge, and there's only 2 points today, so we should finish on time.
I have like 2 points in my segment.
So, oh wow, cool.
It's gonna be a quick day.
So for this first point challenge, it says for these first 5 verses, we're to listen for the response of the people to Joshua's challenge. And it had been, of course, the 40 years. Then it took about 5 years to secure the land. And so Joshua's getting older. He's 110 years old, or close to that. And so he knows his time on earth is short now. And so he has some important things to say that he hopes will seep into their brains and will help them. So who has the first one for me? You do? All right. Go ahead and read those for us then.
This is Joshua 24:14 through 18. Now therefore fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served beyond the river and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. If it is disagreeable in your sight to serve the Lord, choose for yourselves today whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served, which were beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you are living. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. The people answered and said, Far be it from us that we should forsake the Lord to serve other gods. For the Lord our God is he who brought us and our fathers up out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage, and who did these great signs in our sight, and preserved us through all the way in which we went, and among all the peoples through whose midst we passed. The Lord drove out from before us all the peoples, even the Amorites who lived in the land. We also will serve the Lord, for he is our God.
All right. So what did Joshua say to these people? What was his words to them?
To serve God in faithfulness.
All right.
And to put away all the other gods.
And the very first thing it struck me was, he says, now therefore, fear the Lord. Now, other translations might say a little bit different. This is New American Standard, but it's a pretty good translation for that. Now, what do you think when you see that word fear? What does that mean to you?
Usually it'll be scared or I'm
Uh-huh.
fearing, but
Yeah.
you gotta
Yes.
fear a little bit God to have some reverence.
Yes.
And be humble. Otherwise you wouldn't care. If I don't fear him, I can do what I want to do.
Go ahead, CC.
For me, it's sometimes I wish you guys understood my language because we have a word
Yeah.
that
Encapsulates it.
encapsulates it, and English does not. And
Yeah.
But for me, it means to have reverence for, be worshipful,
Mm-hmm.
and to be led and directed only by Him.
Mm-hmm. Good. I like that. That's good. A lot of people will translate that, and I'm not sure if it's the New Testament or the Old Testament. I think it's in general as reverential awe.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Now, it can, of course, mean what? It can mean a distressing emotion triggered by
Terror.
impending danger, pain, or evil, or terror. I like that too. But for the most part, it's a reverential awe. You are overwhelmed sometimes by the fact that God is dealing with us. God is explaining these things. That God is helping, and you realize God of the universe is doing that, and it overcomes you, it overwhelms you. And I think of it in akin to, who was it? It was in the throne room of God in his vision. Isaiah? Yeah, it was Isaiah. And Isaiah, he had this vision of being in the throne room of the Lord, and he felt that he shouldn't be there. He felt very inadequate. He's in the presence of all holy God, and he fell on his face, and he said, "Woe is me! Whoa, I'm devastated." And and that was that kind of reverential awe, realizing where you are, and so we should have that in a sense. Yes, he is our Father, our Papa Father. People say, but we also realize he's the creator of the universe, and he is the judge of all, and so that should be part of our component of how we deal with God, right? How we react to him. Because I think we lose that sometimes. Anyway, so he warned them. He gave them a challenge in those verses, right? What was it he said again? Go ahead.
As for me and my household, we shall serve.
Yeah. Now,
Yahweh,
which verse was
Lord.
that? That was the last verse?
Yeah.
Verse 18?
Yes.
It's not the one I'm looking for.
Actually,
No, that's not.
It's
Oh, we will serve the Lord, for He is our God. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. Okay.
15. Yeah.
15.
It's 15. That's right. I love that. That is a key part of this. He's saying, I know some of you guys aren't going to be doing this, but as for me and my household, we're going to serve the Lord. I'm going to make sure of it. And there's one thing you can say about Joshua and Caleb, for that matter. They were dependable. They were
Faithful men.
the ones. What's that?
Faithful men.
They were wholeheartedly faithful. That's the word I was looking for. Were they perfect now? No, by no means. But I think if you were to categorize them, I'd say they were men after God's own heart, similar to how David is described. Now, David, he was far from perfect. We know that. But God knew his heart, right? God knew his heart. So that challenge is in verse 15. It says that as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Is that a good thing for us to think of also?
Yes.
Should be maybe our motto. I like it as a motto. I think it's a great motto. We should strive to wholeheartedly be faithful to God. And that's what he's talking about. And he's reminding them of the gods beyond the river. Now, what is the gods beyond the river? He's referring to, you think? Baal, perhaps? Of course, Baal was there too. But yes. But
where Abraham grew up, Abraham's family worshipped many false gods
Yes.
in the land of Ur.
Yeah.
And they worshipped them there as well as up in Haran, and there were also false gods in Egypt.
yes.
Often it's Abraham's territory that they're referencing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Beyond the Euphrates River.
But anywhere they encountered a false god, that's what they're being warned against. Don't follow them, right?
It's very similar to Jacob's leadership in Genesis 35. Are you going to hit on that?
No, go ahead.
So Jacob says to his whole household and all who are with him. So this as for me and my household, right?
Right,
So
right.
Jacob says to his household, "Put away your foreign gods which
Yes.
are among you, purify yourselves and change your garments. Let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make an altar there to God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and has been with me wherever I have gone." So he put away the foreign gods and he builds a stone monument, the altar. Same thing that Samuel does was almost very similar words that you mentioned earlier. To Ebenezer is he told them, "Put away the foreign gods that are among you. Let's dedicate ourselves to God." And then they raise up Ebenezer after God helps them. And then those three stories, this one being one, are all very similar, very instructive. God is trying to remind us, this is how you should live as my people.
So it tells us something here, because we know, were they faithful? We know what? They weren't faithful. So,
Well, some of them were.
okay, not all of them, all 100% though. They had problems, right? In general, Israel did.
I would say there was
Yeah.
always a remnant.
And so not all of Israel was unfaithful, and that's true of any kind of statement. You can't say dogmatically. But for the most part, they would fall into sin. And then for the most part, they'd do what? Be punished.
So you're looking at next week's lesson.
And then what would happen after that?
Yeah.
They'd repent.
They'd repent,
And then
and God would do what for them?
Restore.
Restore and forgive them. So that's unfortunately a cycle they went through. But it points something for us. Beware of that kind of thing. Don't fall into that cycle, right? Do the best you can on a regular, daily basis, maybe hourly basis. Look to that memorial stone, if you will. Think about what God did for us. Man, it's great what he did for us. He saved us. Even while we were yet sinners, he saved us. And that's such a wonderful thing. Anything else you see in these verses you want to bring up? Let me see, where was that? 19 through 20. Well, wait a minute. I'm not that far yet. I'm not that far yet. Did I skip something here?
Well, I like what the book says. At this point, the book says, at this point, Joshua did not warn them of the dire consequences that would result if they chose to reject the Lord. Instead, he demonstrated the godly leader he was by displaying before them his own example. I thought that was pretty good.
The word serve, that's what I want to bring up. The Hebrew word serve, it can also mean to worship. So we're not talking about a slave type thing. We're talking about because you love the Lord, you're worshiping him.
Much like how we use the term today, serving God, ministering to God is actually a similar New Testament or New era that we use. We minister to God, if you will. We serve him. And
it should be. I think the inference is here with all faithfulness is the term they brought up, and I think that's like
sincerity and truth.
Yeah. And what does that mean? It means absolute. In other words, holding nothing back.
Remember what Jesus said, the one with the well. God desires people to worship him in
spirit and
in truth, which is very much, again, parallel to what he's saying here.
Right. Okay. Let me see. Did I have a verse I want to read? No, I think so. Yeah, let's talk about that. So the worship is not a bondage situation. On the contrary, it frees us. It frees us. And so, because we are normally in bondage to what?
Sin.
We're in bondage to sin. So he frees us from that sin. That's the exciting thing to think about. You cannot get excited when you start thinking of all the things he's done for us that way. So Joshua commanded his listeners to demonstrate total devotion, to God. He expects our commitment to be absolute, holding nothing back. And like I said, is that going to be a possible thing for us as humans? Sometimes we won't, right? But we need to remember that he is a gracious God. He loves us. He's not going to let us out of his hand. That's part of our key doctrines, by the way. But he will, it's all about reconciliation. The Bible's all about reconciliation, Old and New Testament. Yeah.
But it's a lot easier to stay faithful if you have somebody else showing that godly example.
And Joshua was that, wasn't he? He was that model for the people of Israel. And that's why good leadership is so important. You have to have a leader that exemplifies the standard, not one that just barely meets the standard, but rises above it, because people are watching that, and they're going to learn from that. They're going to follow that. They taught us that in the Air Force. As a non-commissioned officer, you're not just meeting the standard; you're exemplifying the standard. And the same thing I'm sure for officers as well. But that's a kind of a rule of management. You better not just lip service. You better live it. That's the kind of thing. Anyway. hold nothing back. And when we do that, are we going to influence people around us? What do you think? Sure we will. Definitely we will. We will influence those people around us too, the right way. Just like we can influence people the wrong way when we go into sin, can't we?
If you're in a situation where you know that the leaders
Mm-hmm.
preach one thing but do the opposite,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to maintain your own spirituality. You need to work harder
Mhm.
then.
When we follow the Lord, when we exemplify the standard, what's a good example of that for us as Christians today? I would say it's what you're going to be doing later on. Yeah, you're exemplifying the fact that you are showing the world that you are saved, right? By baptism.
As for me and my household,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
shall serve.
And that's really great.
There's a
Because
declaration of baptism.
does that inspire other people? I think it does. Does it make a person think about it when they see that happening? You know, maybe where am I in my life? Maybe I should be obedient to God also. And so it's a good thing, is what I'm saying. Those are good examples to do. Yes.
It always reminds me because I was baptized. I was consecrated as a child,
Mm-hmm.
and then at 13, when I turned my life over to God, I was baptized.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see somebody else baptized, I look back at my life and say, did I do that or did I screw it up again? You know?
But we know as Christians, he never lets us out of his hand, does he? And I forgot to bring this up. Where is he doing this thing? Where is he talking to the people at? It's in Israel, we know. It's a little town called Shechem. Where is Shechem? Well, you won't find it on a lot of maps for some reason. It was a minor Canaanite town. But when the Israelites took it over, I guess he made a little base there of some sort because that's where they were. He was doing this. And Shechem will be on your handout map. And it's located right between Mount Ebal and Mount Gershom, a little bit to the east. And it's not on that map, so I found it and I put it on the handout today. So that gives you an idea where Shechem was. Just a little aside on that. I meant to show that. And this is after they'd secured the country. So he's in the middle of the country, is what I'm pointing out here. So it was a place where they could all gather one more time to hear Joshua. You know, they probably sent the elders, the family chieftains, and whatever else. Did everybody go there? Probably not. But a lot of them did to hear the final words of Joshua. I keep trying to say something.
This is much like the book of Deuteronomy. The book of Deuteronomy is Moses' final sermon to the people of Israel. There's about 4 or so in there. And this is, in essence, Joshua's version of that.
One other thing is he warned them also that if they didn't do those things, they would be subject to the curses of the covenant. You know, there was blessings and there was curses. Remember?
And those 2 mountains represented them.
And that's exactly right. They were doing that for a reason. There's a very graphic illustration.
What
You see the 2 mountains.
Mount Ebal, I want to say Mount Gerizim, but I forget the name. I'm mixing it up.
That's cool.
Gershom, or whatever it was.
So there was
And Ebal.
when
Ebal.
Moses,
Oh.
when Moses was actually in the wilderness there, he actually directed them. There's these 2 mountains by Shechem.
Yep.
Have half of Israel stand on one,
Yep.
half of Israel stand on the other,
Mhm.
and read the law together. And those standing on this half represent the mountain of curses. I wouldn't want to be on that mountain.
No.
Those standing on this half represent the mountain of blessings. So basically saying,
Exactly.
as God's people, you get to choose. Do you want in this covenant, you have the curses of God or the blessings of God, and you can receive either one, depending upon how you respond to your Lord.
And so
And Shechem reminded them of what happened
That's-
about, years ago, decades
That's
ago.
right.
So it's a very graphic thing. It presents to them that challenge, you know, this way or this way. And so that's why he was doing that. All right, good. Thank you for bringing that part up too. What else I want to say about that? I think that was it. Well, let's see. Oh, I got A. Did I give you A? Matthew?
I have
You
B.
gave me A.
Oh, could you read A for us? Now, wait a minute before you do. Let me make sure I got that thing. Okay, they, the people, affirmed Joshua's recital of God's mighty acts. What did God do? He saved them out of Egypt, right? He saved them in time of war from the Amorites and all the other ones. He fed them in the wilderness. All these things, right? So they're affirming all these things, that the mighty acts that God did, being rescued out of Egypt being the prime one. And they acknowledge the Lord's great signs. And this term likely it designates also the plagues on the Egyptians. Okay, and so go ahead and read that one for us.
Exodus 4:28 through 31. Moses told Aaron all the words of the Lord with which he had sent him, and all the signs that he had commanded him to do. Then Moses and Aaron went and assembled all the elders of the sons of Israel, and Aaron spoke all the words which the Lord had spoken to Moses. He then performed the signs in the sight of the people. So the people believed, and when they heard that the Lord was concerned about the sons of Israel and that he had seen their afflictions, then they bowed low and worshipped the new American Standard.
Yeah, that's the New American. By the way, if I give you a verse to read, you can read whatever translation you feel most comfortable with. You don't have to do the one I put in there. I forgot to mention.
Oh, that's
But anyway, so again, he's reaffirming that, this is reaffirming that Moses had already done some of these things and given them these kind of challenges, right? And reminded them of the things. What were some of the signs that he did for them in the wilderness, for instance?
Talking about Moses with Israel, or
Yes,
God
yes,
with all of
Moses.
them?
Well, God with Moses
Yeah,
in the wilderness. Well,
the manna was a big thing.
manna,
Water.
water, yeah, water from a rock. There's no water, and it's a terrible land. And he speaks to the rock, or he strikes the rock, depending on how God told him to do it, and water comes out. Manna just is on the ground when they get up, and they just kind of pick it up and eat it. What else? Anything else?
The birds. when they
Yeah,
were
the quail.
migrating.
When the quail came in, yeah. Now, what happened right at the very beginning when they were leaving Egypt? The Red Sea. Well, that was quite spectacular too,
Yes.
right? And they had the Egyptians on one side, Red Sea on the other side, and there's a pillar of fire between them and the Egyptians.
That's what I was going to say. The
and
pillar
so
of fire and the
They
cloud.
said, yeah, behold, as the old Ten Commandments, behold the majesty of God. And I love that movie. Now, is it all biblically correct? No, but it's very dramatic, and it's very interesting to see how it's portrayed. I kind of get a kick out of it. Before all the CGI stuff, I think they used Jello or something like that to make it look like it was part. I don't know how they did it. Anyway, let's go on. The next one and the last one is warnings and warnings. Okay. Now, in these last 6 verses, I want you to listen for how many times the people affirmed, in other words, said, yes, we'll do it, their desire for the Lord. Who has number 2?
Okay. Joshua 24:19 through 24.
Yes.
Then Joshua said to the people, "You will not be able to serve the Lord, for he is a holy God. He is a jealous God. He will not forgive your transgression of your sins. If you forsake the Lord and serve foreign gods, then he will turn and do you harm and consume you after he has done good to you." The people said to Joshua, "No, but we will serve the Lord." Joshua said to the people, "You are witnesses against yourselves that you have chosen for yourselves the Lord to serve him." And they said, "We are witnesses. Now therefore, put away the foreign gods which are in your midst, and incline your hearts to the Lord, the God of Israel." The people said to Joshua, "We will serve the Lord our God, and we will obey his voice."
There's at least 3 times I counted where they affirmed, in other words, agreed to that, right?
We're serious.
We're serious about this, right?
Yeah.
And this is kind of an interesting verse, by the way, because in the previous section, the challenge part, they basically said the same thing. Far be it from us to do those terrible things, Joshua. We're going to follow the Lord, right?
Yeah.
And so what does he start off with in verse 19? Joshua's answer to them.
You are
will
not
not.
able to serve the Lord.
You will not be able to serve the Lord. Well, that sounds very pessimistic to me.
It's kind of discouraging, right?
Discouraging,
You
too.
could have said, "Attaboy," and he's like, "Nah, you're not gonna do it."
And what do you think about that? If somebody were to tell you that, let's say, give you an assignment, says, but you're not going to be able to do it.
It's
I'm
a
going to let
challenge.
you fix this aircraft because I was in the Air Force. But you know what? You're not going to be able to fix it. Well, what am I bothering? I would think that way, right? What do you think? What do you think? Why is he saying this, do you believe?
Maybe because he's been there the whole time and seen
They're truth.
themselves all through the 40 years of wandering.
So, history. History. We can recount several instances during the wander in the wilderness where they disobeyed God and various bad things happened to the people, right? So, and there was a couple times where God says, I'm just going to get rid of them all, right? And he did it for Moses' case, by the way. God wasn't going to do that.
Gave Moses an opportunity to reflect God's heart back to him. Say, wait, God,
Yeah.
that doesn't sound right.
Yeah. And
Sorry,
but we see this thing, and it can be confusing. There's another thing that I'm doing some study on this verse because this has always been a kind of a verse that kind of, what are they trying to say here? And this one commentary talks about that. No, I'm not going to find it right.
It does kind of feel like what God did with Moses, Joshua was doing with Israel.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to kill them all. Moses is like, wait, hold up.
Yeah.
And now Joshua's like, nah, you're not going to follow him. He's gonna kill you all. And they're like, wait, hold up. So there's an interesting parallel to that story.
And I'm not going to see it right now, but it's a literary thing too.
Yeah.
It's a way. It's kind of like when Jesus used hyperbole in a way. He would say something like, well, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. Well, that sounds like impossible, you know. Well, that's what he's trying to illustrate, you know. So I think Josh is trying to tell him a truth here, and he's trying to challenge him at the same time. Say, you're not going to be able to. But what's the first thing stubborn people say? Oh, yes, I can.
Yeah.
And so it could be that kind of a literary device as well. I can't find the reference to that. It was quite interesting when I read it at the time.
It is also subtly, I think, pointing us towards the need of Jesus, because there is a truth that he says, no, we can't, and consequently we would all be destroyed, because our God is a jealous and holy God.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually does subtly point you to Jesus. Joshua, again, his name is the same name as Jesus. It's just different pronunciation. Kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm just hoping to find this again because I read it. So, that makes more sense now, and I'm not going to find it. Joshua therefore challenges the people to decide. Basically, they must decide whether they will serve the living Lord of history or the gods of the ancestral Mesopotamian tradition or the Amorite gods. And he is trying to exhort them. He's trying to impress upon them that this is a hard thing to do, and you need to knuckle down, if you want, or what do you call it, and put your nose to the grindstone on being wholeheartedly devoted to the Lord. But he's also, I think, expressing some pessimism because he's seen a lot. Joshua was one of the few, remaining witnesses to what?
The wilderness betrayal.
Everything from Egypt on, right? He saw all these things. He saw how the people rebelled, you know, when God was doing things for them. And he saw how God was what? Merciful and repented.
Again and again.
And again and again. Yeah. So does Joshua know that? Of course he does. So when he says these words, it's with that in mind.
Yeah, it is a warning for them to take seriously. This is not just a flippant thing. Like if I tell my kid, hey, go clean your room. Okay, I'm gonna clean it. If you don't clean your room, I will fill in the blank. Okay, I'm gonna clean my room. It does help the recipient to take it seriously when they realize, oh, that's right, there is a consequence.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it says that he is a jealous God. That's another kind of a negative connotation, but he's jealous for his people. He cares for his people. Time after time, he does what? Reaches out to them to come back to him when they've sinned in one way. Just like he has for us. The Old and New Testament is all about, this is a big $10 word, reconciliation. Being reconciled back to God. And this is part of what he's trying to get the people to realize when you do these things, turn back to God. Be quick to do it. Be quick to realize what you did and come back to him. And it says to Joshua and to the people, you are witnesses against yourselves. You have chosen for yourself the Lord to serve him. And they said, we are witnesses. How many times have we done things like that too? Oh yes, Lord, I'm going to make a commitment right now. Then later on we realize, oh shoot, I didn't fulfill that commitment like I was supposed to, right?
I like the fact he's telling them the truth.
Yeah,
That's
that's true.
based on the facts. It's not based on feelings and everything else. It's based on facts that this is what's going to happen, and he's being true.
And when he says this,
Generally, the truth does hurt.
but it also is a challenge to them at the same time. Because what did they do after he said that? At least 3 times I counted.
Yeah.
The people affirmed
Yeah,
what
he
they
did
did.
it. Yeah.
So it was a challenge taken. Interesting. Challenge taken, I think. All right. So it says following God can be challenging at times. We just talked about challenging. And in these verses 19 through 20, Joshua had had passionately urged the Israelites to serve God alone, yet the people responded positively and said that they would not be. Yet when the people responded positively, he said that they would not be able to worship the Lord. Joshua seemed to be warning the Israelites against making a hasty promise that they might not consider it thoroughly. And you know, that's like you mentioned children. Sometimes children say, oh yeah, I'll do it. Now think about this. You're saying you're going to clean your room every day before you go to bed. Think about it carefully. What you're promising. Oh, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not apples to oranges. But I get the point.
Yeah, for children, yeah. But he was urging Israel to take God's holiness seriously.
But we're children of God. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he was also challenging them to do something else, to calculate the cost. Think about what this cost you. And this is, now, can we translate that to us today? Why, in what ways are we challenged to calculate the cost in the new covenant era?
We have to make a decision. We can't be on the fence.
Okay.
We have to make a decision
Okay.
whether to be on this side or this side.
Just like this was. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that. No, I put my hand up. So.
Don't worry about it.
That's why I said sorry, Cece.
No, go ahead. Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
What always stands out to me is it says in I think it's in Revelations. I'm not sure, but it says that God is going to see Israelites and Christians, believers of God, and He's going to say to those, "I don't know you."
The ones that were playing like they were Christians.
Oh, playing
Yeah.
like.
And that is to one of the churches. It is, I think it was one of the churches. I never knew you, or something
Well,
like
Jesus spoke in general in a parable about many would come to me in that day and say, Lord,
Okay,
Lord,
that's what
didn't I do
that's
this,
what I'm
didn't I do
thinking.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll say to you, I don't know you.
I-
Get
I've
apart
never-
from me.
Yeah.
That was, I think that might have been Matthew around chapters 24, 25.
Okay.
That's one of the ones I'm remembering that's related to that.
Anyway, so there's
Matthew
another
7:23.
there's another area in the New Testament that talks about this in a very similar way. Luke 14:28-30. Who has letter B?
I do.
Go ahead.
Luke 14:28-30. Jesus said, For which one of you, when he wants to build a tower, does not first sit down and calculate the cost to see if he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he has laid a foundation and he is not able to finish it, all who observe it begin to ridicule him, saying, This man began to build and was not able to finish.
So he was saying this to illustrate an important aspect of what it means to be a disciple, wasn't he?
Count the cost.
Count the cost, you know. And so should people without thinking about it say, yeah, I want to become a Christian? No, they shouldn't. They should understand what it means, the importance of what it stands for to be a Christian, how it's a lifelong thing. And so I think we do a disservice sometimes when we have evangelistic type meetings and little kids come forward and just dunk them and say, okay, you're fine, next person.
Oh no.
No, we should never do that.
Well, we need to take it serious.
Take it seriously and count the cost. Explain to them, and so they can understand.
Well, first, we need to see if they are mature enough
Right.
to understand
Yes.
what it means.
Yes, it's difficult. These are concepts that Teresa teaches the kids, and she also does a children's time up there. And her challenge is always because she gets these descriptions of what the sermon's going to be on, and these big words are used. Well, the kids don't know these big words, so she's got to translate them into their vernacular, and it's difficult to do because they don't have the vocabulary, they don't have the frontal lobe development and all that other stuff.
The fiery wrath of a jealous God. Is it easy to communicate to children?
Yeah. But anyway, so we want to make sure we calculate the cost as well and understand what it means. So, what are some modern day idols and false ideas that sometimes take our time and attention? Because this is what he's worried that they're going to be influenced by those around them and by what the experiences they remember from the past that will take them away from God, right? And so these are their idols at the time was like Baal, the Asherah, Molech, Dagon, and there's a lot of them, a whole litany of false gods. What are some of our false gods, or some of our idols, or maybe false ideas? Things that take away our time and attention from God at times.
Social
Love of
media,
money.
Facebook,
Okay,
Twitter.
I see the hand. Yes,
Oh, sorry.
Power,
power. Okay.
money.
Yeah.
You said cell phone. Somebody else said social media. I think.
That was what me, social media.
Okay.
The
I said
self.
love of money.
Love of money. Yeah. And
Family.
Envy.
family can do it. Now, how can family? That sounds so positive, but family can take us away from God
Uh-huh.
at times.
Yep.
Yeah, if we're not careful.
Envy,
Anything that's
lust,
Envy,
pride.
okay, pride.
For convenience.
Some of the things I jotted down was cell phone and all the things that go with it.
Ego.
TV,
Self, period.
materialism, hobbies. Ooh, like photography. Ouch, there's my toes. Get your step. Entertainment. Can that sometimes take us away? Yeah. Physical addictions. We let ourselves become addicted to different things, right? Policies, maybe ideologies, politics type things, because we get sometimes taken away on those things. Yes. Comfort, even personality. Sometimes, back in my mom's era, it was Elvis Presley. Oh, Elvis is so wonderful, and they just follow him. They go, oh. We don't do that today, do we? With personalities? Sure we do. Ever seen these
I am not a
concerts?
Swiftie, sorry.
Yeah, I was
I'm
just
not.
saying, Taylor Swift is one of those kind of people that attracts a certain
Or a
element.
Timberlake fan.
That's even older now, though.
No, never,
so-
never have been, never will be.
We need to guard against idols as well.
Timberlake.
Do we need to guard against idols?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Absolutely.
These can be things, anything that takes away our priority, which is what? God, and being devoted to Him. Now, does that mean our family is not to be taken care of at all? No.
God
But
gave
it-
you a family for
But
a reason.
if you do it in the right relationship this way, then this relationship's going to be right. Right? The vertical with God, then our horizontal with our family and friends. That would be okay. So,
Proverbs.
I think we're going to wrap this up because we need to. I know Sharon's got an appointment,
We all do.
and well, let's just move on.
Oh,
Let's see here. Here's the three summary ideas. Let's wrap it up here. First one, each person must consider how he or she will respond to the Lord. And that's what Joshua was asking. How are you going to respond to the Lord? What are you going to really do in your heart? Right? Second point is we're to put away any idols that might demand our devotion and rightfully belongs to the Lord instead. So one of the things I was asking, this is rhetorical questions, but think about maybe some practical ideas that can help us as Christians live out our devotion wholeheartedly to the Lord. There's probably ways we can set up our own little memorial stones around us in a way, right? Maybe it's your favorite verse on the wall. I don't know. Maybe it's putting on your schedule with your daily schedule. Read one chapter in the Bible. It could be something like that, or write down what God's been talking to me about in my prayer. It could be something like that. Something simple, something to remind us to keep focused on God, right? And another question is what should we remember to do in order to make the right decisions to and obey God? So it's not just words, but it's what else? Actions. It's actions. So
More so the actions.
right. So what's the challenge from our study today? A challenge is for us is to think about what does it look like in my life especially to be wholeheartedly devoted to the Lord, and what are some ways that we can maybe specifically to express worship to the Lord each day, like we just talked about. That's what Joshua was challenging the people to do, right? Don't forget what you just said. You said you're going to be wholly devoted to the Lord. Do that. Do those things that help. Any comments or questions? Norm, you talk too much. I know. I'm sorry. But this is great stuff, and I think it's important for us to go over these things and realize in our own lives we can learn a lot from what Joshua was telling the people.
Yeah.
You don't talk too much.
Not a time.
You challenge us.
Well, I hope so. Yeah, a little bit.
Or at least you challenge me to try to be better.
And there's so much good material here that I sometimes can't even cover it all. Let's have a word of prayer. We can go upstairs. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for how you do challenge us, Lord, in our own lives to be wholly devoted to you, Lord, and give us those kind of things in our life to memorialize that, to remember, Lord, to be that way. Maybe it's a song that we have, a favorite song, favorite hymn or chorus, Lord, whatever it might be. Just pray that you'd help us to put away any of those idol type things in our life and put instead maybe these memorials to you in whatever we can in our own way, to be committed to you wholeheartedly, Lord. Thank you so much for all you've done. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you guys for being here. It's a little bigger class than normal. Sorry you were missing your teacher today.
No, that's fine.
Glad to have you guys with us, though. My name is Norm Ellis. This is Grace Baptist Church in Vancouver, Washington. Glad you're with us online as well. Please stand by in the next hour. Look in that same YouTube channel. There should be a link for the sermon coming with Pastor Matthew. Thank you for being with us. God bless you all.
Which room are you usually with?
Thank you.
With them over there in that room over there. Usually
Who's your team?
Heather.
Oh.
Thank you for being here.